Guys, as we promised you, for those looked on yesterday, Sterling Henderson of I-95.5, the 2019 I-95.5 stand-up tent monarch, he is back with us. We started a carnival chat yesterday just to wrap carnival up here as I go through a little carnival to banker, and I think you're still carnival to banker.
I'm looking forward to things like Juve in July and
right.
Georgie's Jamish.
You're going ahead there. You fly past Easter, Lent, Easter.
I'm already thinking what's next on the calendar.
Lent, Easter, Mother's Day.
No reason to whine then.
So Sterling is back, guys. We are, this morning, I really just wanted to bring the discussion towards Calypso. Because I think over the years, it's been a discussion that since Copper Joe has been around, we've delved into it in terms of how relevant is Calypso now in our carnival. I remember Sterling Henderson back in the day. The Dimanche Grand night was a big night in my house.
Similarly,
I dropped my judging thing. I judging thing long time. And I judging the Calypsonians. The Marsh Gras, and we'll get to the fact that they have now moved it this year, dismantled what the Marsh Gras is on Calypso night. But I really just want to speak to Calypso and its relevance in the carnival. The Calypso tent, as we know it, it's almost dissipated now. I think, if not totally irrelevant.
I wouldn't agree. I think that Tuco has done a lot of work in terms of keeping the junior competition alive. And as long as soldiers are born, the war will go on.
Oh, good.
And, we had a 21-year-old monarch this year.
Right.
The top three the average age was 26, 27. Helan Francis in third, Karina Ashe in second. Those are young people. So I think the art form has a future as long as people continue to produce calypsos, which is why it's so important for me to do what I do in the stand-up tent as well, because I really do think that Calypso belongs to all of us, not just the Calypsonian in the Tuco tent or Crew or anybody. I think that it's our art form and we really should be able to do with it.
I like to explain that back to stand-up tent.
But in terms of in years recently, we have seen the state-sponsored tents doing well, but we have Divas Cabaret, run by Rudy Otley, which happens every year with some state help, but it's still a worthwhile enough venture for him to engage in it, as is Spectacular Promotions, who still do things, and other little tents, or not little tents, there was a tent on Ozenville Road this year. So there are tents outside of Classic Rousseau, Kaiso House, and...
Review is no more, I think. Review.
Well, the review did happen this year. The review did happen this year. They got the Calypso Queen.
Would you agree with me that the importance of what the Calypso tent was, let's say 15, 20 years ago, it's no longer. Now the Calypso tent is struggling to maintain its mark on the carnival calendar. Nobody is planning. I remember you're planning to go to the tent. When the dates for the tent, that no longer is the case.
No. But
the Calypso in itself, Sterling, I remember they said when the Calypso was coming out, you would hear them on the radio. You start to get familiar with what Coco singing, with what Chalk they're singing, with what Watchman singing. You start to get familiar with what their contributions for the year. Nobody knows in a real sense. And I'm just being plain talk bad manners kind of thing. And I know we could debate it, but nobody would have heard the top three Calypsonians in Kaiso Ram, I think is what they're calling it now, before final night.
Many would have heard them at semi-finals because the semi-finals was very well attended. Semi-finals was very well attended. Joel, I think, not to be tangential to the point, but there is a general sense that there's an urbanization going on in the world.
Right.
In the sense that we all now want to be able to access what people access around the world in the palm of our hands at the same time they get it. Right? So things like Calypso will fall off. But soca will grow, in my mind, because soca is a more urban expression. Calypso is acceptedly a sort of traditional expression. And the more we move towards the future and technology and advancement, we're going to have to make efforts to maintain what is traditional. So I'm not going to throw my hands up in the air and say, yeah, it's dead or it's dying, but I'm going to look for the life in it. You know what I mean? The Tents happened. The Tents produced 16 finalists in the Calypso Monarch competition. 16 finalists that were excellent in my mind. I couldn't tell you where I wanted who. I liked Alana Sinnett. I liked Chucky. I liked Irfan. I liked a lot, you know? So I don't know what the formula for the Calypso Tent success is, but I do know that the art form is alive, and that's more important to me. We're not so much where it happens, but that it happens. That people are paying to write calypsos or writing their own calypsos and recording them, and the industry is alive in that sense. The recording aspect of it, the writing aspect, the licensing aspect. The Tents, I don't know. I don't know.
How did you feel about the fact that it was moved from the March Gras night and moved to Thursday night? I believe.
Terrific Thursday.
Thursday.
I understand the dilemma that Tuco may find itself in. That come the March Gras night, here you are contributing a huge part of the show and to its success, but then perhaps not receiving the door tickets because it's an NCC event and not a Tuco event. So logistically, it's a little murky. You know, when the NCBA or the TCCBA comes together with the mass element and Tuco comes together with the Calypso element under the NCC to do the March Gras, it becomes a question of, well, whose profit is this? So I understand Tuco hosting its own show and the benefits of that. But I have to say as well, though, that I really do miss the product that was the March Gras. You know, there is substance and there is form. And I'm not going to say that this year's March Gras was without substance. I would say it was without form. And you can't have one and not the other, because in our minds, in the collective mind, we have an idea of what the March Gras is or was. And you're going to spend your lifetime convincing me to accept this as opposed to what I know. It's like the whole Hilo Massey thing, you know? You know, because there are people who still
I heard a comment, I think it was on radio, I was on probably on 995.5, and the lady said, we are changing so much in our carnival. She said, one day we will get up and we as Trinbagonians would not recognize carnival. And as I said, I jumped because when she said it, you know, she said, all of a sudden, as I said, what we know as the March Gras has now changed. The North Stand as we knew it now is the North Park, you know. So she said, one day we will get up and we as Trinbagonians would not recognize our carnival.
I was showing a video to a friend this Carnival Tuesday that I shot a couple of March Gras ago. And he was saying, where was this? And I said, the Savannah. He said, it looked good. North Stand. North Stand in the back. And the stage there and the costume coming in. It was enough. It was enough for a very long time. I don't know why we feel that now.
Are we just trying to do away with tradition because we can do away with it and using the big word evolve, and we're evolving and we're evolving?
How much did the March Gras cost?
I don't know, sir. I don't have those
figures. Why wasn't that important? You tell me you're not putting up the North Stand because of cost, but you didn't tell me how much did the March Gras cost. If cost is an important thing, let us discuss cost. And let us use it as a fact to determine what we do and what we don't do. Because when you have kings and queens and Calypso Monarch in the March Gras, you don't have to pay a marshal. You don't have to pay whoever to come and perform. And how many of them did they have?
It was a well put together show.
That's what I said. The substance was there. But the form is not one that we are familiar with or accustomed to as the March Gras. And I think that the March Gras previously had both substance and form. Now it is lacking in form. And it is, I mean, why? Why would I choose to watch it?
So there are folks watching us now, and I'm sure so they will say, living in the past. You know, The only thing constant is change. So things must change.
Yeah. And
Should we just accept the fact that there will be change? Probably in our time.
Yeah, but when I say the more things change,
More
everything
things
will just stay the same as we move. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Haiti, but I mean, you know, because the North Stand was a bleachers.
Yeah.
It was a basic construction.
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked.
It costs.
It you know, the cost.
Up and down, up and down.
Well, cost, I don't know. I mean, unless we have across the board accountability as far as cost is concerned, we can't make it a sometimes relative factor.
Yeah.
You know, and at what cost do you damage the Savannah party? How many people had their semi-final panorama experience interrupted by this set that was put up there, the North Park? How many people were wondering, wow, am I going to do this again next year? As opposed to when you leave the North Stand and you're like, oh, good, can't wait for this next year. It's about the experience more than anything, and we have to start thinking about the experience that is Carnival and stop messing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for dropping
My pleasure, Joe.
sharing your expertise and your knowledge this morning with us. And as I said, as Zoe mentioned, I think the authorities that be must take into some consideration. Yes, things change. Yes, things evolve. But you use the phrase, there's form and substance. And let's keep that balance so that we would recognize our carnival, our children's children will recognize what the experience that is trying to make with Carnival, the greatest show on earth, really is all about. We're taking a short break. When we come back, guys, we get into the very first episode of Cook Like a Gourmet Chef with Ocean Delight. I'm really excited about this. Come on back. We'll have all of it unveiled right after this.